Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I was almost going to say welcome to our first live, but it's only our first live in English, so it's kind of a starting point, right? Welcome, welcome. We already have our first ones. Welcome, guys. Let us know where are you seeing us from. Today I am in Cusco. I am in Peru. It's quite early here today, actually. It's like 3 p.m. So a lot earlier than for the most of you guys, which I will guess most of you will still be in Portugal. Maybe not, maybe you are already somewhere else in the world. Maybe we already have some digital nomads here. We already have our guest here, so at least we know she will appear. Let us know where are you seeing us from, if it's Portugal, any other country, which city. Hello, hello. Should be maybe Bruno Salgado, Rita. We have Rui, we have Tiago. Welcome, guys. Giving a little more minutes for more people to join. Hello, Margarida. We have our members from our membership program today here as well. We had our Q&A session today. We have one session per month, so usually it's in the last Wednesday of the month. We had ours today about starting a new job, which was amazing because some of them are already starting new jobs. Great news. And so without further ado, let me just present what we'll do here today. Maybe some of you already seen our lives, some of them it's the first time. So we usually do this one time per month, more or less. And we always invite someone that either already changed their career into technology from any other background besides IT. We already had Scrum Masters, Product Managers, Agile Coaches, Delivery Managers. We also had recruiters, and we are preparing some more surprises for you guys in the next months. So today we will have with us Rita Vaz. Rita is a product manager today. She started in psychology, so really different backgrounds. We already had some people from psychology here, so as you can see, it's quite common background, academical background. And today she will share a little bit of her path, how IT appeared in her life, what changed, how were the main difficulties in the beginning, how was the adoption of all of a new team, a new company, a new area. So we'll get to know all of that and understand how this change happened in her life. Before I get Rita here, I just wanted to remind you guys first to send this live to anyone that you think might need a push on their career, okay? We are here to help someone that might not be as happy in their job as they would like. They still don't have that freedom, work schedule, freedom, the flexibility of working in your own schedule, flexibility of working remote around the world, or even they just want to try something different and learn and understand if their purpose is in technology or not. I was there one day as well, and I found out my purpose is here. So maybe you'll be able to help someone else, and that's what we are also here for. So last alert is for tomorrow. We are gonna have our masterclass. We haven't done one for like 6 months, and the last one we had almost 80 people subscribing. Now we have more than 100, so it's gonna be good. We'll be here around 9 p.m. GMT +1, so stick with us if you want to know about how to move to technology. And without further ado, let me get Rita here. Da-da-da-da. All right, let it ring a little bit. Going back now, putting the frame where it should be. She's answering,
Hey.
guys. All right. Hello, Rita. How are you?
You? Oh,
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Real problems of digital nomads. Can you see me well? Can you hear us well, guys? Let us know as well. I forgot to ask in the beginning. I can see you well. Can you hear me well?
yes, I can. Sorry, can you hear
Okay,
me?
perfect.
I'm not sure if
Yes,
it's
now
my
it's a lot
connection.
better. Oh, I have 110 megabytes today. I rented a co-working space especially for this. So I think from my side, I think we're gonna be safe because sometimes it's quite hard to find this in around the world. It's one of the main difficulties of being a digital nomad by far. But wow, I just saw your picture and I'm like, oof, I miss seeing this face live. I haven't seen you now like in, I don't know, 2 years, three
Same,
years.
same here.
Yeah, it's a long time, a long time. So, Rita, welcome. Thank you for accepting our invitation. It's a pleasure for me to have you here. I was writing a little bit of the email we sent to our list this morning, and I was thinking, okay, what can I say about Rita? So I just remember your first planning when we worked together, and I remember so well your first planning. I don't remember the feature we were building, but I remember that you arrived there and you gave so many numbers and were really clear and very focused on we are building this because we need that because we have that. And I'm like, wow, this is like real. Wow. It was amazing. And I always
Yeah,
use that example when I show another people coming from another background other than technology.
that's so cool. I actually remember the clothes I was wearing that day. I was so nervous on my first planning.
Okay, didn't pass. I didn't notice at all. You seem very secure of yourself. So, guys,
Awesome.
listen to this. That's the trick. Okay, Rita. So, do you want to tell us a little more just who is Rita today?
Yeah, of course. So, as you already told everyone, I'm a product manager. I work at the fintech right now. So, for 2.5 years now, time is really, really flying. It's called Uphold. Is a medium company. We are about 300 right now, and it's the crypto space, so it's growing very, very fast, and it's a very exciting world to be in right now. And yeah, I was a psychologist. I studied psychology. So, and a couple of years, this opportunity came, and I took it, and I never looked back.
That's good. That means it was the right choice.
Yeah, for me,
So,
it definitely
going
was.
going back in time, let's go through the beginning for people to understand more or less how everything appeared in your life. So Rita is studying psychology, and then what happened? How did you enter like the work world first, let's say?
So, in order to tell that story, I need to give you guys a bit of background of what I was doing before within psychology. Ever since I left college, I work with Red Cross, which is the biggest humanitarian organization in the world. I think it needs no introduction. And I was working in Braga with Red Cross with several projects. I work with violence victims. I work with kids having troubles with law. And my last project there, I was working in schools with a team with several professionals within multiple backgrounds. And I was managing this team and the projects with the school. So we had a lot of stakeholders to please. We had to think about the end user, the KPIs we have for the projects. And at some point, due to also some personal reasons, it stopped making so much sense to me. So I said to one of my friends, I need to move on from this. I need to find something new to do with my life. And, for pure coincidence and a bit of dumb luck as well, she's married to someone who works at Uphold, and he knew me well, and he thought I had the skills, especially the soft skills needed to work within product. And it was sort of like a challenge. We are looking for someone in this area. Do you want to try it out? And I thought, why not? I had no reason not to do that. I needed to move on from where I was. I knew nothing about product. I knew nothing about about technology. Sorry. And I just said, yeah, I won't have this opportunity again, probably. So I'm just going to grab it. And if it goes well, perfect. If it doesn't, I'll just find something else. And yeah, hopefully, and for it, all went for the best, and I'm very happy doing what I do right now. And it's very challenging. And actually, when I started and when people know I come from psychology background, everyone is more or less the same reaction, because they say, "Oh, really? Oh no, wait, that makes sense, for the job you do, because it's really a lot about people and understanding people." So at the end of the day, I think they start to understand it makes sense.
Yeah. So that first approach, let's say, from technology, what did they explain you, or what did you think it made sense for you to move to PM? Like, how did they approach the subjects? How did they convince you? Look, Rita, this might be a good challenge for you.
Yeah, because I really knew nothing about this. And I remember clearly the first thing he told me about, being a product manager, and he used a comparison with psychology. And it was like, as a psychologist, a product manager listens a lot more than he speaks. And that is something that I recognize up to this day. I spend most of my day doing active listening, which is a very, very important skill to be a product manager. And, I really need to take in all of the opinions and all of the things that I research and talk to people with in order to make my decision. But at the end of the day, I listen a lot more than I speak. So it kind of just led me through the set of skills that he thought would make a good product manager. And I felt I have a lot of those. And also, of course, the lure of the technology world and the product itself that we were building, which is a very exciting one. So yeah, it was kind of like that he explained to me what product was and how I could fit in this world that I knew nothing about. And I need to confess, it didn't took a lot of work of convincing me. I was easily convinced to try it out. Because it is indeed a very, very exciting area to be in. And, I think I did a good thing changing there and accepting that challenge.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I agree. I totally agree. But let's make sure. Let's show the people why that's true.
Yeah.
So, and then we have Rita from Psychology. How long were you working as a psychologist by then? For how long?
So around 5 years. Yeah, around 4 or 5 years.
That's quite a lot. Yeah, that's a lot. So then they show you this new challenge, you're totally convinced, and now it's the moment to start as a PM in a new company, a new area with new people. How was the beginning?
Sorry, I think I lost you there a bit. Can you repeat?
Sure. I was asking, once you joined that new role, once you joined Uphold, how was the beginning? How were those first weeks? How was the adaptation of that?
Oh, I was super scared. First of all, let me admit that. It was very, very scary. My first day, I was so nervous because I didn't really know how people were going to react to the fact that I didn't know how to code. I didn't know anything about technology. Not even the way a company works, the what's back end, what's front end, what's QA. I didn't know anything about that. So I was really, really scared about how people were going to react. And I actually had an amazing experience with those first couple of weeks. Everyone was super nice. I think in IT, there's this general culture of, if you are willing to learn, we will receive you with open arms. And I was really, really eager to learn everything and to get to know everyone. So I was really, really well received. So we had a very small product team at the time. We had 2 other PMs, which were, core in the way I learned how to do product and in my adaptation in the beginning. But they both have a technology background, so they both came from being engineers, and now they were in product. So I always thought the fact that I didn't know how to code was a handicap. In the beginning, I really thought this. And I remember saying this in my first review, after 6 months, and I was telling my boss, oh yeah, maybe one of the things I need to improve is to learn how to code a bit. And And I remember he saying to me, you are looking at this as a handicap, and I actually think this is an advantage that you have within this role. And now I realize it is an advantage. I still don't know how to code a single line after 2.5 years. And I don't need to. It's not supposed to happen. And it is an advantage in a way that when I'm designing product and when I'm thinking about product, I'm not thinking about the technical complications of it, and I'm just trusting the people who are going to program that to do that. So I'm really just focused on the customer experience. So I don't have that technological bias, which is, at the end of the day, it is an advantage. It took me a while to figure that out, but yeah, now I look at it that way.
Yes,
but yeah, it was a lot, an intense time for learning, everything about the product, about the company, about technology overall. So it was intense to say the least, but it was really, really good. I think I kept humble, I kept, eager to learn, and that made it a lot easier. And it went really, really smoothly. And I'm still learning every day, and that's really exciting.
of course. We are always eternal learners, but you said that some kind of characteristics that I think they are the key ones. So when you arrive to a new place, you really need to be humble and to be able to be open enough to learn with the people that are around you. I believe the reception there, and I know the company quite well from the inside, so I know that it's a very welcoming environment. So it's great when we are welcomed in that way, right? When you arrive there and you think it's such a handicap not to have, you said coding, but there are a lot more things that people are afraid of. And people will just answer you, oh, you're from psychology. Okay, that makes perfect sense. So yeah, starting like that, I think it should be a really, really good way to start to feel like, okay, now I think I'm gonna be happy here. I can imagine myself. So that's really good. Did you, like in the beginning, what were your strategy to try to keep up a little bit faster with the role itself? Like a lot of research? Did you went to events? What strategies did you use?
So I read a lot. The first time, the first thing that I asked when I got there was, what books do I need to read? What things do I need to learn to learn the trait and to get better at this, every day. So I read a lot, and my colleagues were kind enough to make me a list of books that I read to search for. I read a lot, there are a lot of good podcasts about product. I still listen to a lot of those. And generally on the internet, you can find articles and everything that you need to research. So yeah, it's a lot of studying involved, especially in the beginning. But it's definitely worth it. And to be a good product manager, you really need to be curious. Not only about the industry you're in, of course, but about the role itself, about your customers, about the problems that you are trying to solve. So it really comes from the beginning. And if you are a curious person and you are interested in product, you will naturally figure out how to reach that information that you really need. And it will help you a lot in the beginning, gather those basic what's the word I'm looking for? The basic concepts that you need to grasp about the user experience. And honestly, it does make sense coming from a psychology background, because a lot of those are shared with psychology. So that's one thing I learned that really surprised me. There are a couple of books that I already read, and I was reading them and saying, this is exactly what I already learned, just applied to a different world than I was used to. So it's really interesting to see, those that knowledge that we acquired coming from such different areas that, in the beginning I didn't see how they could marry each other, and at the end, using that same knowledge that I acquired in college to do my work today. So that's really, really impressive and exciting.
Amazing. It seems easy that way, right? You have a new challenge, you just go out there and you learn about it. And that's in the end, that's all. And you are really, really, it's perfect that that match around the skills that the role itself demands and the ones that you already had from your past experience. And that's one of the hardest things that we here in Techia, we want to explain people that their backgrounds, independently of the area, they will have a lot of special of soft skills, a lot. Learning how to communicate, how to speak, how to listen, as you were saying, how to lead a team. Those soft skills are so, they have so much value for IT and for any other sector. But since we are speaking here specifically about IT, they are so, so valuable. So yeah, people really need to recognize the value that they can bring to the company.
Sure.
So I'm seeing here that you have some questions. Let me just read. So Anna is asking, how did this opportunity come into your life? Okay, you already said this, explain, so I'll skip it and see the previous part later on. And what made you change to a PM role? Okay. Do you want to search a bit more about like why did you decided to make that change? What opportunity did you see on the PM role?
Yeah, of course. And hi, Anna. I know her from college, so nice to see you
Nice.
here. And I was actually reflecting about this before this conversation, and the only really thing I can think of is when the opportunity came, I couldn't find a good reason to answer the question, why not? So I didn't have a good enough reason to not try it out. The worst thing that could happen is, I tried something different. It didn't work out. So now I learned that this is not for me, and I can move on to something else. But I already knew that I wanted something different for my life. So I just took the chance and grabbed it. And I actually already thought about product was the first contact that I have. I also already thought about would I enjoy a role of Scrum Master or any other roles that do not require, being able to code that I am not. But there's a magic around the product world and really thinking about the user experience and caring about people, and at the end of the day building something that will impact thousands or millions of people. It's really magical. So I think fortunately I have a perfect fit from the beginning. So that was really cool.
That's nice. You just teach us how to sell the PM product. It's magical to build a product that will touch like millions of people. Thank you, Rita. It will be a lot easier now.
Yeah, and
Very
it's
good, very
actually
good.
something that it's difficult to realize on your daily work, because you are looking at tasks, trying to solve problems, trying to communicate with engineering, with stakeholders and whatever, and you sometimes don't stop to think about the impact of what you are doing actually. And the other day the chief product officer of my company was commenting, this decision that we are making here right now, this that we are building will impact millions. Do you realize that millions of people will try out what you are designing right now, what you are deciding right now? And I was like, yeah, I hadn't thought about that. So right now, so it's really incredible if you put it in that perspective.
Yes, it's intense, and I guess everyone usually here people have a great need in life, which is to find their purpose. And finding our purpose is almost, I would say, impossible. It's I've been learning it's really hard, so you just have to try, and it's a little bit as you said, like once the opportunity comes, if you cannot find a reason not to try it out, well, maybe you should. And I've been meeting a lot of people on this trip that they joined technology because they didn't know what they like. So they went after the lifestyle they want. They went after the freedom, the good benefits, the good people that at least we heard and at least both of us know it's true, that you
Yeah.
will find inside technology, the kind of culture. So they went after that and they are happy. And in the end, they can find their purpose. That's what happened to you. And that's what happened to me as well. I also didn't know what I wanted. And suddenly the opportunity came up. I grabbed it and Good. I'm really happy my past Mariana did that, and I guess you're really happy your past Rita did that as well. So I hope
Yeah.
we have some people here that will say the same in a few months or years, who knows. So going back to where we were, speaking about your beginning, the beginning of your career as a PM, and then since now 2 years and a half have passed, like I didn't know it was for so long, it seems like a week ago. And how was
Definitely.
your progression? How do you feel now as a PM, or how do you look to your growth during the last 2.5 years?
Yeah, so it's growth happens every day because you are willing to learn every day, and every day you have a conversation. And I spend my entire day talking to people, so every day you have a conversation where you learn something new, something different. And I realized that I had grown a lot and that I had learned a lot when it happened. Someone joining the product team, and they were more junior without a lot of experience, and they came asking me the questions that I had asked 2 years previous. And I was like, oh wait, this means something. And I didn't even realize I had learned so much, and that now I am able to answer this. And I understand so well, what he was going through at that time, and I gave it my all to help, because that was what made it for me as well. And it's really subtle, but it's you realize that when you have a bit more confidence to make decisions every day, where you don't agonize with every little thing, and you start to have a bit more confidence in your work. You start to realize that people come to you to get help, and even the people trust you in your decisions. That's where you realize that you are evolving and learning. It's not something that it's very obvious. At least for me, it's not. But I do understand that in the little things. Right now, I don't second guess myself that much. I know that I have a better mindset, and my the way I think about problems, it's a lot more evolved than 2 years ago. Yeah, but I understand that in the contact with other people, and obviously on the products that we are building, but especially when talking to other people, and doing those micro decisions that we have to make every day. So if you don't know this about product management, we make decisions every day, all the time.
Don't scare them. Don't scare them.
No, but it's really exciting, right? Because at the beginning, yes, you will second guess yourself, and you will ask your colleagues, "Is this the right decision?" But then slowly you will start to understand that you are able to make those decisions for your own, alone, and it will be very exciting in the end when you see something that it's your effort, and now it's built, and you can try it out and play around with it, and now other people are using it. It's very, very exciting. It's very, very cool.
Yeah, I like the word you used before. It's magical. I will use that one. I'll steal that one.
You can steal that one.
Great. We have another question here from Isabel. What is the most interesting part of your job?
So what's the most interesting part of my job? This is a good question, because product has a lot of phases of development, and I do enjoy all of them. I enjoy the discovery part, where I'm checking what other companies are doing, what users want, looking at numbers. I do enjoy that. But I have to say that right now, it doesn't mean that it won't change in the future, but right now, what I like most about my job is probably discussing with design and engineering the solution part. So after we explore the problem and we decide on what's the road we want to cross, right now, I really need to marry between design and user experience, and then engineering, and what it's possible of doing, and the effort it takes to do. And I'm working with a really, really great engineering team right now, which helps a lot with this answer. And I really like that part of the challenge they bring. as well, because everyone has an opinion about what should be done on the product part, and I like the challenge for myself as well to justify what I'm doing and really think through my decisions, and presenting that to the team in order that they trust my decisions and what we are delivering to the user as being the best that we can right now. So I really enjoy that part. It's tough, but it's
Yeah, I was
really
going
really
to ask you
rewarding.
that. I was about to ask you, do you think that's easy to do? That's that perfect match between design and engineering and the solution that in the end it's the end solution, let's say?
No, definitely it's not easy. Of course, for some problems it's easier than others, and it also depends on the people who you are working with. And that's why I think it's so important, to have the correct soft skills more than, the hardcore knowledge of the concepts and everything. You really have to have a core of soft skills that are very specific in order to do product management well. You need to care about in my opinion, you need to care about the people you are working with. You need to really build a good relationship with them, because at the end of the day, you need to trust them completely, and they need to trust you as well, in order for everyone to do our jobs the best as we can. And actually, and maybe going back a bit from when I work at the Red Cross, I remember when I was managing that team of several professionals. I have in that team, psychologists and educators in areas that I was really comfortable with, but I have speech therapists, and I have never worked with speech therapists before in my life. And I remember saying to my manager at the time, now I'm going to manage this project, so I will need to learn about speech therapy. I need to learn about this because I will need how to talk with them. And she told me, why you have people who are chosen to be on this team that are specialists in this. So what you need to do is learn, to trust them and to let them do their job, and learn, not exactly the concepts of speech therapy, but learn with them and trust them. And that's exactly, what I did at the time and what I do now with engineers. They do their thing and they do it amazingly, and I need to trust their work. And they do need to trust mine as well when we are making decisions, and we don't always agree, but we most of the times we do, so that's good.
Yeah, let's say most of the time, that's good.
Yeah.
So you told already a story that's responding, almost answering to the second question of Isabel, which was, do you have an interesting story at work that might have impacted you in a positive way? But Rita, do you have any impactful story already in IT, already as a product manager, something that happened with a team, with other product managers, something specific that's impacted you in a positive way?
Actually a lot of stuff, but one that comes to mind is on you were mentioning before that first planning that I did, that I participated in. That was a very impactful moment, and the entire project was, because it was my first time as a product manager, leading a project, and I was working with mainly two engineers at the time that were not senior engineers, so they were fairly young as well. So I kind of just felt that we were learning from each other, and it was really, really rewarding. I remember the front-end engineer coming to me and saying, look, I don't think this makes a lot of sense, what you are proposing here. And she was a bit, nervous about saying that, I will do this, but, just know that my opinion is this. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's explore the solution that you are presenting, and let's see why maybe what we were doing here was not the best, and we were able to change things and reach a consensus and really work on what's best for the user. Because if we have that in mind, what's best for the end user, the amazing things will come from that. There are, of course, people who who have bigger egos, and what they want is to see their idea on the paper and not exactly the best thing for the
The
user. But
best.
that's something that you build as well with your team. When you are able to grasp that feeling and that culture within your team, that's where really amazing things happen, and you know that everyone is focused and everyone is synced, and that is just great.
And magic happens once again.
Exactly.
Okay, we have one more question. So here from Barbara, I think as well. It's
Hey,
what's the
hi, Barbara.
biggest challenge? What's the biggest challenge as a PM? Great talk. Thanks for sharing your journey.
All right. So the biggest challenge, oof, we have a lot a lot of those, but negotiating is a hard one. It's a skill that you need to have, and maybe something that may be a frustration for us is that as a product manager, you don't actually have power over people. So I'm not anyone's boss, anyone's manager. That's just in the title, but that's not exactly true. But there is an expectation of almost informal leadership that we need to have with our teams. So although we don't have the power, let's say, we do have the responsibility, and there's a lot that we need to give. From ourselves towards that, and to really to build that team spirit and everything. At least I take it as a responsibility for me, and sometimes that's a challenge. It's a challenge because every team, and sometimes we need to work on several projects at the same time with different teams, and different teams have different needs, and we need to adapt to them. I am not of the opinion that they should adapt to me. I also need to do the work in order to adapt to those specific teams' needs and personalities. And the way that you communicate bad news, it's different from team to team. The way you communicate change, or that you present ideas, or even the maturity of the ideas that you present needs to be different with the teams that you are working on. So that's one of the biggest challenge for you to realize and to have enough empathy to realize what are each team needs, and to act accordingly to that. And of course, this is just one of the bits, because in the middle of this, you also need to have empathy with your user. That's the most important thing. And you need to really be focused on what they need. And if I can add to the biggest challenge, another one, companies have stakeholders and C-levels, and and all of them demand a lot of things, and your manager will demand things, and the C-levels want to see things done in a certain way. But my job as a product manager is to think about the user, and sometimes it's not easy to negotiate what I think it's best for the user, taking into consideration what the C-levels think it's best. So there's a dance here, which is it also has its magic, but it's definitely a challenge sometimes. But again, at the end of the day, we are all here for the same goals. So that helps a lot.
Yes, yes, I totally agree with both challenges. As I guess it's not only product managers, Scrum Masters also suffer, let's say, of the same thing. Delivery managers, the same thing. Most of the tech roles, I guess, they need to deal with both things, being what's usually called the servant leader. So being there with a team, not as a line manager, you're not their boss, but in some way you are showing the way, where should we go, and you're dealing with frustration and you're dealing with low motivation and I don't understand why are we building this and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And on the other way, you have the stakeholders that might be or not, that's aggressive, it depends. Startup mode, of course, they will be more there, more let's do this, now let's do that, and now that. In more corporate companies, it's usually a bit different because the projects will already come like very organized and very well defined. but each of them has their advantages and disadvantages. It's like it's much more intense to work in a startup mode where things are always happening and changing. But if you like process, if you like things organized, a corporate company will give you that a little more smooth. So great challenges there, Rita. Good luck. Good luck. So let me see if we have, I think we answered all the questions for now. Guys, if you have more questions, now it's the time, then Rita will go, and then you'll not have any more chance to do the same question. So just go for it. And the last thing I have here in our notes, I think it was about key advices for people that are now thinking either to move to technology and maybe to move to a product owner, product manager role. So what would you say to them?
I would say, why not? There's no really, if you can find a good reason not to try it out, you should. It's a very exciting world. We are participating in what is making the world move forward and into the future. We are really working with a foot in the future already. And there's great culture, great people in technology. And if you are curious by nature and you have some interesting product, go read. There's a lot of good books, a lot of good podcasts about products, and if that's something that you're interested in, I'm sure you will find it very easy to listen to that and to read about that. So yeah, and then if at least that helped for me, on interviews, because you don't have a lot of experience. Try to speak a lot about your soft skills and the soft skills that are needed to be a good product manager, and try to encourage that in the interviews, because at the end of the day, if you are willing to learn and you already have a set of skills that are good for the role, then it will be a lot easier for you to have a career in products.
Great advices. Once again, value your soft skills, guys. Value your soft skills. The rest you can learn. Good advice, Rita.
That's exactly right. If you have the right mindset, the rest will come.
Yes, exactly. So I think we answered all the questions, and I think we covered our major points that we had spoken about. So this is my last moment to thank you once again for accepting the invitation. I think it was one of the lives that we had more people at the same time. We reached 20 people at the same time, which is a lot. So this means it was really interesting, and people are really interested in what you have to share in the product manager role. So I think I hope we will have some next to be product managers in the future. Who knows? We will work together. So Rita, thank you once again for accepting the invitation.
Thank you for the invite, and thank you all for being there. It was really, really cool.
Thanks once again. So before we hang up, I just want to let the alert once again that tomorrow we'll have our masterclass, how to work in technology without coding, which was exactly what we were speaking about here. And as Rita told you, you don't need to code to be a product manager. So that will be one of the roles that we will be speaking about, sharing how the IT market works, sharing what is the best role for you. We will have an exercise specifically for you to understand which one of the role adapts more to your profile. We will speak about getting job offers, cover letters, LinkedIn, and how to get a job in IT. So be there. We will have a lot to speak, and we'll have eternal time to answer your questions, okay? I will be there till the last question. I hope that's not too long, but I'll be there. It's a promise. So here it's the goodbye. Rita, thank you once again, and hope to see you soon live.
Yes.
Bye,
bye, Mariana. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you, everyone.